Hi guys, so can Rishi Sunak understand the cost of living crisis? Can he comprehend what it means to be forced to choose between heating and eating? He's worth between 150 and 200 million pounds. His wife is richer than the Queen. But it isn't just about wealth, it's him literally presiding over whether people live or die as cold kills. More and more people are being forced to switch off their heating in order to avoid having to cut back on food. This causes a whole range of problems for both people who are healthy and those who are already suffering underlying conditions. So does the Chancellor understand what people are going through? I don't think so, but Kit Malthouse, a government minister, thinks he does.
But let's take just a couple of the measures we were talking about there. I mean, national insurance, I get it. If you expand at the bottom, that does mean fewer people are paying tax. But what of those who aren't at that threshold point already? Chancellor made an awful lot about the cut in fuel duty when he was at the dispatch box. Again, if you look at the numbers, those at the very bottom end, 55% of the bottom demographic don't drive. These measures do not help. I mean, are you entirely confident that the Chancellor, a man who, on a Treasury-organised photo opportunity, couldn't work out how to pay for petrol at the pump, are you in any way confident that this is a man who genuinely knows what it is like to be counting the pennies in your pocket?
I am, yes. And I think that's unfair on him. You've got to remember the great advantage of our system is that all of us as MPs are anchored in our constituencies, right? And we sit down, as I will be later today, in a constituency surgery, and we deal with our constituents on a daily basis with the very huge variety of issues and problems that we have. So notwithstanding our own particular situation financially, obviously we have, heavy exposure to how everybody across the whole of the
Of course, but I'm talking about his individual ability to empathise with people at the bottom end of society. I mean, this is a Chancellor that thought there was a debate about whether or not to give poor kids food during the summer holidays.
Well, as I say, I think that's unfair. The Chancellor is trying to do a very difficult thing, which is to balance the requirements of the British people for assistance at a time of need against the long-term financial health of the whole country.
You saw there how Rishi Sunak was filling up the petrol of somebody else's car, posing as if it was him that was actually filling up the petrol of his own car. This has been exposed and criticised, but Kit here is talking about how, yes, we are anchored in our constituencies. We understand what our constituents are going through. Really, do you understand what your constituents are going through? Because if we look at members of parliament, their salaries, and this data is a little bit out of date because it's from 2020 to 2021, you can see here members' salaries. So from the 1st of April 2020, the annual salary of a member of parliament increased to £81,932. In 2022, it's added, there's another 2,000 added to that. But as I said here, Kit is not just an MP, he's also a minister. So how much do ministers earn? Well, a cabinet minister earns an extra £67,505. So that's on top. So that's added to the 82 or 83,000 pounds that's currently the salary of the MP. So he's a minister and an MP. So he has two salaries there. Minister for State, 31,000. Prime Minister, 75,000, as you can see. I don't know if he's a cabinet minister or is a minister for state, but he's on more than £82,000 a year. But it's not just that, he also can claim expenses. And from the 1st of June to the 31st of May 2021, between 2020 and 2021, he claimed £243,128.76. Now, most of this, for some reason, went on staffing. £192,000 on staffing, policy research at £3,000, council tax, and then rent. Now, I don't know how many people he has working for him, but he has claimed almost £250,000 in expenses. Once again, I don't know who works for him. Are these people related to him? Why does he need so many workers? He's an MP, yes, but he's a minister. and those things are meant to be separate. But what did Rishi Sunak himself say about the criticism he and his wife are facing? Remember, his wife is richer than the Queen, and he's deciding, you know, whether people are forced to eat or heat their homes.
Yeah, someone said, you know, Joe Root, Will Smith, and me, not the best of weekends for any of us. But I think, on reflection, both Will Smith and me having our wives attacked. At least I didn't get up and slap anybody, which is good.
Did you feel like it?
But, no.
His wife was not attacked. A fact was presented that his wife has shares in a company that's operating in Russia at the moment, and his wife is richer than the Queen. Those two things are facts. It's not that she was attacked.
Yeah. You know, look, it's. I know what people are going through is tough, and that's tough.
I know what people are going through, and that's tough. He's worth between 150 and 200 million pounds. His wife is richer than the Queen, and he turns around and says, I know what people are going through, and that's tough.
But in terms of me, and, you know, has it been a hard week? You know, people being critical of the media, that doesn't make it tough for me, right? And I think, like, it was tough in my job. The first few months, the first few days, the first few weeks I had this job, that was really, really tough, trying to figure out what to do almost 2 years to the day, right? Mm-hmm. Today that we locked the country down. Mm-hmm. Those were probably the hardest weeks, trying to get that right. And, you know, I didn't get into this, you know, because you want to be popular. So
that's what I'd actually like to ask Rishi Sunak. Why did you get into this job? Why are you know, if you're worth 150 to 200 million pounds, why are you doing this job? You're not doing it for the money, because as a minister you're earning about 100,000 or just over 100,000 pounds a year. So it's not the money, because it's a pittance to you. You could do it for free and you wouldn't notice the difference. Why is Rishi Sunak doing this? I believe it's ideological. He's one of these disaster capitalists. He's a Brexiteer and a disaster capitalist. And this is about punishing people. Now, people will say, well, that's not a legitimate criticism, because during the pandemic, there was the furlough scheme. And once again, I think the furlough scheme was hugely beneficial to ordinary people. The universal credit uplift was beneficial to ordinary people. But it was about encouraging people to spend money in the economy. Helping people out during this type of crisis is not encouraging them to spend money in the economy. It's helping them out. And that's completely against the ethos of this type of Tory. But once again, he has no understanding of what ordinary people are going through. He's so disconnected from it. And the fact that his ideology is about punishing people who are struggling is part of the problem here. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.